A very good evening and welcome to this special live program covering the visit of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, to the Republic of France on an official state visit. In this momentous diplomatic occasion, His Highness the Emir, may Allah protect and bless him, embarks on his first official visit to the French Republic since assuming power to take part in the Bastille Day celebrations, France's National Day, commemorating the enduring values of liberty, unity, and resilience. His Highness's high-level participation underscores the deep-rooted historical ties and the evolving strategic partnership between the State of Kuwait and the French Republic, founded on mutual respect, shared values, and close cooperation across a range of fields. This special coverage highlights the significance of His Highness the Emir's presence at one of France's most prestigious national events, reflecting Kuwait's esteemed standing on the international stage and its commitment to advancing global peace and dialogue. The visit also marks a defining moment in the relationship between the two nations, an opportunity to further strengthen cooperation in key areas such as defense, the economy, culture, and diplomacy, reaffirming the enduring friendship shared by the governments and peoples of Kuwait and France. Here is more in this special report.
In a moment steeped in political symbolism, the State of Kuwait affirmed its influential presence on the global stage, as His Highness the Emir Sheikh Mish'al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, took part in the Bastille Day celebrations, marking France's National Day and 80 years since World War II, in the presence of French President Emmanuel Macron. The visit carries profound significance as it comes at a sensitive time amid regional and international transformations, reaffirming that the Kuwaiti-French partnership continues to hold historical depth and is growing stronger across multiple sectors. From the ceremonial welcome at the Élysée Palace to His Highness's participation in the iconic military parade along the Champs-Élysées, Kuwait's presence in Paris was far more than symbolic. It was a deliberate reaffirmation of diplomacy, trust, and shared vision between two allied nations. This afternoon, President Emmanuel Macron received His Highness the Emir at the Élysée Palace, where an official reception was held, followed by high-level bilateral talks led by His Highness for the Kuwaiti side and President Macron for the French side. Discussions also reflected the strength of the bilateral relationship and explored ways to deepen cooperation across various fields, from defense and economy to education and humanitarian engagement. The two leaders also exchanged views on key regional and global developments, reaffirming the importance of coordination in navigating common challenges. In recognition of this pivotal visit, President Macron hosted a state luncheon in honor of His Highness the Emir and his accompanying delegation. Politically, the visit was marked by a clear alignment on pressing regional issues, most notably a shared rejection of imposed realities in Gaza and a call for adherence to international law in Syria and Lebanon. These mutual positions reflect a broader diplomatic posture grounded in dialogue, legitimacy, and restraint. This visit not only commemorated 7 decades of Kuwaiti-French ties, but also laid the groundwork for a renewed phase of strategic engagement, one that reflects Kuwait's foreign policy ethos, measured, principled, and anchored in respect and cooperation. From the heart of Paris, the State of Kuwait once again demonstrated that it is a voice of reason and a partner of credibility, shaping international partnership with wisdom, vision, and a commitment to shared values.
The official visit of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, to the French Republic is the culmination of more than 6 decades of distinguished relations between the two countries.
Welcome back to our live program. Now, to enlighten us more on the importance of this visit by His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, to the French Republic, we are now joined here in the studio with our distinguished guest, political analyst Dr. Khalid Al Janfawi. Welcome on the program, Dr. Khalid.
Thank you for inviting me.
Dr. Khalid, we have lots of material to cover this evening, so let's get right into it. Dr. Khalid, what does the presence of His Highness the Emir, may God protect and bless him, at France's Bastille Day parade symbolize diplomatically?
I think it's the presence of His Highness the Emir at this particular national French day represents or symbolizes the strong ties between the two countries, between the France and Kuwait. In addition to this, it also underlines the importance of His Highness within the global diplomatic context. In addition to this, also it underscores the objectives of the current French diplomacy, basically which is to expand its bilateral relations with the countries in the Middle East, in particular the Gulf countries, and Kuwait being GCC countries in particular, and Kuwait being one of the most important strategic partners to the global powers in general, especially France. I think the France and the French government wishes to extend those bilateral relations, wishes to deepen those bilateral relations by basically signing, say, economic, military, and security agreements with Kuwait. And of course, when we read the relationship between Kuwait and France, we can trace it back to decades, meaning perhaps since the early 1960s to the current day.
More than 6 decades.
Yeah, more than 6 decades. So I think the presence of His Highness the Emir at this particular national event in France represents the importance or the important role of Kuwait, and how His Highness the Emir is appreciated and respected by the French in general, and also by the French president.
Dr. Khalid, how is this visit perceived within European diplomatic circles, particularly in the context of growing Gulf European ties?
I think the current visit of His Highness the Emir to France represents part of the efforts by the European Union to expand its economic and defense relations with the GCC countries. So the French government basically follows the European Union strategic, if you like, objectives, and thus the visit can be read as part of the larger European effort to strengthen ties with the countries in the Middle East in particular, and especially the GCC countries, because I think that the Europeans look and consider, for example, our local economies in the Gulf region as promising economies, and economies that look for diversity. I think the French experience in different fields, especially in the economic field, will benefit also the Kuwaiti economy, and also will benefit the rest of the GCC economies. In addition to this, of course, France is one of the most leading military and political powers in the world, and thus strengthening the strategic partnership with France will also help us in the Gulf to increase our defense, if you like, to establish ties with countries in the European Union. Those countries basically have historical ties to the region. Currently, they have also new opportunities to join, if you like, the GCC countries in developing new kinds of economies that basically revolve around the idea of economic diversity. In other words, going away from oil into renewable energy and other kinds of AI and other kinds of emerging.
They're very advanced in the defense.
Yeah, indeed. And as you said, France is one of the most leading countries in defense manufacture, in weaponry, and all sorts of, if you like, security apparatuses, systems, and so on. So I think strengthening the military and diplomatic ties with France deeper and deeper will basically be very useful, not just to Kuwait, but to the rest of the Gulf region. And of course, finally, we need to understand that also the European Union in general has already started a few months ago to expand its economic cooperation, not just with the Gulf region, but with the rest of the Middle East. For example, in Syria, the French also and the Europeans have already signed so many agreements in regards to economic cooperation. But I think the French will have more opportunities for economic developments and trade and business in Kuwait, because I think our local economy is a promising economy. Our government administration is very flexible and is able to adapt to the new kinds of emerging economies. So I think all the aspects, all the characteristics of the Kuwaiti economy represent to the French really very important opportunity to expand their economic cooperation with Kuwait.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid. What long-term diplomatic outcome can be anticipated from this visit? As you know, many of the GCC countries are now looking at sometimes making the visa more available to the citizens back and forth. Maybe this is one outcome. The Schengen visa is quite difficult. It takes a long time to get. Yes. Maybe this can be an outcome. Any other outcomes you can mention from this visit?
I think in addition to strengthening the political and diplomatic relations, for example, with France, I think we will witness in the next few weeks or months a facilitation of, say, for example, the visa process. In addition, and instead of maybe going through different administrative hurdles, maybe the French, I think, will understand that unless those visa restrictions are eased and perhaps removed.
I heard something like there'll be online.
Like
the British.
Like the British embassy, for example, as you said, you can apply for a visa online within 48 hours. I think one of the good outcomes of this current visit is not just the economic and defense agreements that have been signed and are being signed right now, but I think we will witness also the opening of France to Kuwaiti tourists. In other words, the change, or maybe the positive change in regards to the visa applications, meaning it will become much easier for Kuwaiti citizens, for example, and perhaps for all the rest of the GCC citizens to apply for an online visa, through the French embassy. And I think this will help not just increase the number of tourists who will be visiting France, but it will also facilitate different kinds of cooperation, educational cooperation,
one
tourism.
thing can lead to another.
One, as you said, one positive step will lead to the next. And I think it's in the benefit of France to basically ease this particular visa process to the ordinary citizens in Kuwait, because Kuwait is if they are able to access this visa easily and get it much easier than before, they will also bring, they will spend more money in France, and this will improve the tourist economy in France. And of course, this is only just a minor outcome of the current visit. The current visit is based upon larger and more important strategic cooperation. In other words, not just in the defense sector, but also in inviting French businesses and companies to basically invest in the Kuwaiti economy, sharing the experience, the French experience with Kuwait, and also bringing the French expertise in trade and business in general into our economy. And of course, this will, in addition to improving our Kuwaiti economy, it will also transform our local economy into an inviting economy to global investors. So I think one of the good results of this particular visit is the opening of our local economy to French companies. And of course, if we open our economy to French companies, we'll also be able to open it to the rest of the economies in the European Union. And thus, the European Union in general, after the signing of such agreements, will become a more, if you like, a stronger partner, a more interested partner to Kuwait in business and trade and economy and even in health, because we know that the...
I was going to mention the healthcare system is very advanced in France, and we have many Kuwaiti, let's say, the Kuwaiti citizens that travel to France
for example,
taking care of their health.
Yeah, but in particular in cancer treatment, because I think there is a very famous and very important hospital in Paris, I think. I just don't recall the name of that institution, but basically it offers the most recent advanced treatment for cancer. Of course, Kuwaiti patients, as you said, travel to France.
And this is good for the French economy as well.
Indeed, and of course the exchange of the medical experience of the French with the Kuwait and joining our medical, if you like, national, if you like, staff will improve their performance, will improve our health system in Kuwait.
Exchange of expertise.
The exchange of expertise is very important in a new emerging market that is based not just on energy, but it's also based on educational improvement, economic improvement, renewable energy, different kinds of, if you like, of human development. So I think the French will be really very good partners to Kuwait.
We have the special entity, which is KADIPA, which is in charge of attracting foreign investments, foreign companies to, or let's say from France to, they can go through KADIPA.
Yes, indeed. In addition to KADIPA, also there are a couple of institutions in Kuwait, French institutions, those that promote the spread of the French language and literature, those that spread...
French institutes.
In addition to just literature and language, there is also a very strong French-Kuwaiti cooperation in the environment, in other words, in research, and of course France has contributed a lot to the improvement of the educational environment in Kuwait. Of course, in Kuwait we have at least more than 500,000 individuals who use French as their native language. In other words, expatriates and even Kuwaitis. The Francophone phenomena in Kuwait has been going on for the last few decades. In other words, the interest in French language and French literature. So if you trace such cooperation, you can trace it back to the early 60s. And I think the French are very interested in strengthening such cultural and educational and, if you like...
initiatives,
because in addition to helping the French economy, it will also help us in Kuwait to invest more maybe in the French market, because the French market is basically part of the European Union, and we will get...
Could be very lucrative.
Very lucrative to Kuwait, and also
Dr. Khalid, we're thinking a little bit ahead. I have several questions prepared for you in other subjects, but we're going back to our main issue, which is His Highness the Emir's visit to France, to the Bastille Day celebration. To what extent does the French government's invitation to His Highness the Emir may Allah protect and bless him, to attend the Bastille Day celebration reflect Kuwait's growing prominence and respected standing in the terms and the realms of international diplomacy?
I think the French were very interested in inviting His Highness the Emir to France because the current visit came after the French president sent an invitation to His Highness the Emir, and that was maybe a few months ago. And of course, this underlines how important is our Emir to the French government, to the French president. It also underlines the strategic importance of Kuwait as a leading country in the GCC, if you like, organization. It also underscores the political and diplomatic importance of Kuwait, being a leading power in the Gulf region, and the invitation extended to His Highness the Emir to attend this particular national event in France, the Bastille Day, is
one of the most prominent.
Yeah, but most important
on their schedule.
Yeah, it is one of the most important national events in France, and I think this invitation represents how the French government and the French president appreciates the importance of His Highness the Emir in the region, and this is really a very honorable, if you like, role, an honorable invitation, and extending the invitation to our Emir is also symbolizes the respect of the French government, not just to our Emir, but to the rest of us as Kuwaitis. So I think this is really a very symbolic visit. It's a very symbolic visit because it comes during a very particular,
delicate time,
historical and delicate, if you like, time in the Middle East region.
Currently, the geopolitical situation.
Yeah, the geopolitical situation is shifting rapidly, and thus France is basically seeking new partnership with leading local, if you like, regional powers like Kuwait.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid, for this insight. Now, before we continue with our special guest this evening, let us now consider this report, which highlights the establishment and evolution of the strong historical relationship between the state of Kuwait and the French Republic. Kuwait and France share a long-standing and distinguished partnership founded on mutual respect, trust, and common interests. Kuwait and France share a long-standing and distinguished partnership founded on mutual respect, trust, and common interests. Over the decades, this bilateral relationship has grown steadily stronger, characterized by high-level diplomatic engagement, strategic cooperation, and ongoing dialogue. Today, the two nations continue to collaborate across a wide range of sectors, including defense, energy, education, health, healthcare, culture, and innovation. Through regular high-level visits, the signing of numerous bilateral agreements, and vibrant cultural exchanges, this partnership has been continuously reinforced, reflecting a shared vision for peace, stability, and sustainable development. The enduring friendship between Kuwait and France stands as a testament to the depth of their diplomatic ties and serves as a model for constructive international cooperation in an increasingly dynamic global environment. The English News team has prepared the following report. Stay with us.
Centuries, the state of Kuwait and the French Republic have built a deep-rooted friendship, one that has evolved over time into a multi-dimensional strategic partnership. Today, this relationship is being renewed in a compelling way, where history intersects with geography and vision meets opportunity. Although the foundations of this relationship date back to August 1962, official diplomatic ties were established in April of 1964, when France appointed its first ambassador to Kuwait. Since then, the friendship between the two nations has grown steadily, developing into a strong and expanding partnership year after year. Paris has stood firmly by Kuwait in some of its most difficult times, notably during the brutal Iraqi invasion in 1990. France expressed unwavering support for Kuwait's sovereignty and international legitimacy. That commitment was further cemented in 2009 with the signing of a bilateral defense agreement that remains in effect to this day. In recent months, the partnership has gained new momentum with the signing of several agreements and memoranda of understanding in areas such as investment, clean energy, education, and defense, reflecting both countries' determination to modernize and deepen their cooperation. Economically, France is one of Kuwait's largest European investors, with more than 39 French companies operating in vital sectors, including infrastructure, transport, health, and energy. On the other hand, Kuwait's sovereign wealth fund, Kuwait Investment Authority, has invested over 25 billion euros in France, reflecting mutual confidence and long-term commitment. Trade between the two countries continues to flourish, with the latest data showing a surplus in Kuwait's favor, where exports to France have exceeded 660 million euros, while imports stand at approximately 260 million euros, demonstrating a well-balanced economic relationship. In the energy sector, both nations have signed a declaration of intent to enhance cooperation in renewable energy projects, which aligns with Kuwait's ambitious New Kuwait 2035 vision focused on sustainability and innovation. On the defense front, cooperation dates back to the 1990s through agreements that include joint military exercises and advanced arms deals, underscoring the mutual commitment to Kuwait's security and regional stability. The Kuwait-France relationship is also considered the oldest in the region within the Francophone sphere, giving it a special status. And today, this collaboration extends across defense, healthcare, and education, with a shared desire to expand these sectors into more specialized and integrated forms of partnership. Culturally, French is firmly established as the third language in Kuwaiti schools, as the French Institute in Kuwait continues to attract growing interest, and the number of Kuwaiti students pursuing higher education in France is steadily increasing, strengthening human and cultural ties between the two peoples. Their relationship goes far beyond interest on trade. It pulses with a history of solidarity, constructive cooperation, and shared values. Time and again, it proves that true partnerships are built on trust and sustained through a shared will and a unified vision for the future.
The official visit of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al al-Ahmed al-Jabr al-Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, to the French Republic, is the culmination of more than 6 decades of distinguished relations between the two countries.
Thank you for joining us. We are back with our special guest this evening in the studio, political analyst Dr. Khalid Al-Jamfawi. Dr. Khalid, in your view, how have the past high-level visits, such as the 1991 and 2011 state visits, shaped the trajectory of Kuwait-France relations today?
I think the current visit is based on the previous signing of the agreements since the 2009 and 2011 visits. In addition to this, of course, one needs to understand that the French government has been seeking stronger ties with the states in the Gulf region, the GCC countries, and Kuwait continues to be one of the most leading countries in the GCC, and I think the objective of the current visit is basically to strengthen those ties and also to build upon the previous visit, as you mentioned them earlier, and of course ultimately the strengthening of the French-Kuwaiti ties will be very useful and very lucrative to both our GCC economies and also to our strategic, if you like, relationship as Gulf countries with France. In addition to this, of course, the current visit of His Highness the Emir to France represents the outcome or the ultimate outcome of those previous visits back in 2011 and 2006. Yeah, indeed, and thus I think we will witness in the current visit the signing of different economic and educational and scientific, if you like, and even health care agreements, and hopefully after the visit, we'll witness more economic cooperation with France, and of course more signing of especially defense agreements with Kuwait, because when read within the larger context of shifting, if you like, politics and strategies and diplomacy in the Middle East, I think we will understand how vital is this how vital is this current visit, and how strategically important it is to our future in Kuwait. In other words, our future relations with the global powers, with the United States, with the European Union in general, with the leading powers in the region. And in addition to this, I think the current visit represents the wisdom of His Highness the Emir in choosing this particular historical moment to make this very important visit, which symbolizes basically the far-sighted, if you like, vision of our diplomacy in Kuwait, meaning we were able to create a very special Kuwaiti diplomacy, a diplomacy that is based on self-respect, if you like, on finding peaceful solutions to issues and problems in the region. And I think the French do understand and do appreciate this very rich diplomatic heritage in Kuwait. And the momentous, if you like, importance of this visit will appear in the next few days and few weeks, when we'll see French business, French expertise.
Reciprocal visits.
Yeah, reciprocal visits by French politicians, French professionals, French businessmen, business people, French medical staffs, and so on, so into Kuwait, which will basically improve our health sector. It will also improve our local economy. It will make our local economy as an inviting, if you like, place to global investors, and it will also guarantee the legal protection of global investors into Kuwait when they come into Kuwait and invest with their money and their expertise. So it's really it's very difficult to really underline or just pick a couple of objectives or a couple of outcomes of this visit, because the visit is very important historically to Kuwait, especially within this particular phase of the development of the Middle East region, meaning the global powers are shifting their strategies around the region, and thus it's a good opportunity to strengthen diplomatic and military and security ties with France, which is really one of the most important global powers in today's world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dr. Khalid, could this visit signal a shift or a deepening in Kuwait-France strategic or defense partnerships?
I think it does. It will, because in addition to signing military and defense agreements, it will also build upon the previous, if you like, defense and security cooperation with France. Hopefully we'll witness also in the next few days and weeks the sharing of, if you like, military expertise with the French. It will also deepen the, if you like, security cooperation with France, because France is one of the most important and leading countries in military manufacture, if you like, aircrafts, ammunition, weaponry in general. And thus I think signing such an agreement with France in the current visit, meaning the defense agreement, will strengthen, if you like, our local security, our national security in Kuwait, and it also will help the region in general. It will help the region in general, and particularly the GCC region, especially. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid, again for your insight. We will be back with you shortly to provide further insight into this high-level visit by His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, to the Republic of France. We had the honor earlier of hearing from the Ambassador of France to the State of Kuwait, His Excellency Mr. Olivier Gauvin. Here is what His Excellency had to say on this occasion.
France and Kuwait stand together on many issues when it comes to international matters. I just want to mention our commitment to multilateralism, to peace, to international solidarity. And I particularly wish to commend Kuwait's exemplary humanitarian engagement. I'm glad that France and Kuwait are currently joining forces to support together future development projects. France and Kuwait are strong allies, strong partners for stability and security. Our armies fought side by side during the Liberation War. The 1992 Defense Agreement remains the oldest agreement in that area signed by France with a Gulf country. Generations of Kuwaiti officers have trained in France, and these exchanges create bonds of trust and interoperability between our two armies. And I'm very pleased to know that we are currently expanding the training programs and this cooperation. This was about the political and defense side. On the economic front, I see growing enthusiasm from French companies to come and do business in and with Kuwait. Vision 2035 is creating opportunities that are closely followed by our economic actors. We increasingly welcome delegations from France. Delegations which are driven by the desire to showcase the French expertise and to build cooperations with Kuwait in many fields: transport, logistics, energy, sustainable cities, health, artificial intelligence, and more. All of them come because they want to contribute to Kuwait's economic transformation priorities.
The official visit of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, to the French Republic, is the culmination of more than 6 decades of distinguished relations between the two countries.
Welcome back to our live program. Joining us now via a recorded phone call is Mr. Hussein Sana, a distinguished writer and researcher in international relations, who will shed light on the significance of the bilateral relations enjoyed between Kuwait and France, ties that have spanned over 6 decades and encompass areas such as culture, infrastructure, and diplomacy. Mr. Sana also offers an additional perspective into the deep-rooted and evolving partnership, one marked by diplomatic strength, strategic cooperation, and shared vision for global peace and sustainable development. Let's have a listen to the phone call.
The Kuwaiti-French relations are quite extended, as we know today, after having access to the archives and seeing publications from Center of Research and Kuwaiti Studies. France was one of the early countries that recognized Kuwait's independence. And since then, we have seen a rapid growth in relations that we always hope to extend and grow. There has been an exchange of ambassadors since the 60s. And since then, there has been an accordance and agreements, mutual agreements over many regional issues. We can see today that the Emir's attendance of the Bastille Day, 14 Juillet, the 14th of July, France National Day, is a symbolic and a reflection of this extended relationship. So we can tell that these relations are growing increasingly with time. Multiple Kuwaiti citizens also received the National Order of Merit from the French Embassy or the French state through the French Embassy in Kuwait. The National Order of Merit was first announced by President Charles de Gaulle in the 60s. And we can see today that multiple Kuwaiti citizens have received this honor and this prize, really, from France for promoting French culture in Kuwait or promoting French commercial interest, mutual interest between France and Kuwait. So we can tell that His Highness the Emir's attendance to the celebrations of the Bastille Day in France are there to push these relations further and beyond, and strengthen these connections.
Welcome back. We are back with our special guest this evening, political analyst Dr. Khalid Al-Janfawi. Dr. Khalid, we talked about defense, we talked about defense cooperation. Now we want to talk a little bit about how have both nations collaborated on counter-terrorism, maritime security, and cyber threats.
Well, I think Kuwait-French security cooperation can be traced back to the early 2000s. In other words, Kuwait have signed with France a number of security and defense agreements. And of course, when we read this strong security relationship between France and Kuwait, we also need to read it within the current situation, say in the Red Sea, and how terrorism is basically threatening international trade and shipping in the Gulf region, and also in the Red Sea,
the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes, Strait of Hormuz, and also in the Red Sea because of what is happening in Yemen.
Yes.
And so reading such defense and security cooperation with French within those very volatile, if you like, environments will reassure us in Kuwait that we have a very strong supporter in the French Republic, meaning in France. In addition to this, France will benefit by extending its military and security cooperation with Kuwait because of the important strategic position of Kuwait in the region, being one of the most important and leading countries in the GCC Council. In addition to this, I think France, as the rest of the European countries, as well as the rest of the, if you like, international powers, are facing currently the phenomena of maritime, if you like, terrorism, this kind of new terrorism attacking shipping and shipping routes and so on. So all such events threaten the global security, the global trade security in general. It destabilizes the global economy, and thus Kuwait can play an important and a very constructive role in countering such events of terrorist attacks and terrorism in general. And thus Kuwait has become a leading partner to not just France but to the US, to Britain, in counter-terrorist, if you like, activities. And of course, as long as we succeed in the Gulf region in maintaining the security of those if you like, the international trade routes, we will
gives more confidence.
Yeah, give more confidence to, and basically and inject more confidence into our economies. It will give more confidence to the global investors to come and invest in our economies, and in particular in Kuwait. And thus the counter-terrorism or the cooperation on such an issue with France is part of the larger, if you like, economic and military and political cooperation, not between Kuwait and the GCC countries and France in particular, because France, like Britain and like the US, is going through a strategic, if you like, shift in its global partnerships. In other words, the French economy, the French is basically seeking new markets in the region. France as a global power is repositioning its, if you like, role within the region due to the rapid changes that have been happening in the region just recently, especially after the fall of Bashar al-Assad and what is happening within the conflict between Israel and Iran. And thus France as a global power is basically readjusting to these new realities, and it looks at Kuwait as a very trustworthy partner in such, if you like, initiatives.
Now, defense cooperation and counterterrorism is one area, but more importantly now there is cybersecurity, the internet threats, the hackings. How important is this type of collaboration?
I think the Kuwaiti-French collaboration on cybersecurity is very important because, as you mentioned earlier, cybersecurity is one of the most important issues facing not just countries in our region, but it is considered one of the most leading, if you like, security threats to the rest of the world. Indeed, yeah. So maybe this kind of, currently we are witnessing a new kind of cyber terrorism, if you like, which would be more, I think, destructive than...
Especially when they attack the banking sector.
Yeah, when they attack the banking sector, the electric grids.
The big companies.
The big companies. They can destroy almost anything that is connected, if you like, quote unquote, online. In other words, most of the our local Gulf region economies are basically based on digital, if you like, networks, and thus strengthening of our cyber security cooperation with France will be very constructive and very useful to us in Kuwait, because it will enable us to counter such a new kind of global threat. Cybersecurity is considered today as one of the most leading, if you like, field of combating a new kind of terrorism, a terrorism that is very, if you like, very difficult to counter because of the, if you like, nature of such kind of crimes, meaning electronic crimes. As you said, it might lead to the collapse of economies. It might basically take hostage, financial institutions. It can lead to the destruction of electric grids. It can lead to different kinds of, if you like, indeed. So I think Kuwait understands that one of the leading international threats currently is basically cyber crime or cyber terrorism, and thus strengthening our cyber security cooperation with France will enable us to use and use French expertise in such matters, because France is a leading power in AI. It's a leading power, if you like, in cybersecurity. It's a leading power in scientific research in this context.
Dr. Khalid, we kind of talked a little bit about tourism, but what does tourism, medical travel and treatment, and student exchange play in building bridges between societies?
I think strengthening the tourism, if you like, cooperation is very important. A couple of days ago, I was watching an interview with the French ambassador in Kuwait, and he basically underlined in that interview how important tourism to France. It is not just a regular, the usual tourism we practice, if you like, but it also can be a medical tourism. In other words, France offers one of the most sophisticated medical health system in the world, and thus hopefully after the visit of His Highness the Emir to France, the French embassy will ease some of the restrictions in regards to applying for visa, and I think it is in the benefit of France to welcome more Kuwaiti tourists, because we are one of the most respectful, most law-abiding, most cultured tourists in the region. And
big spenders as well.
Yeah, we're good spenders. Yeah, indeed, good spenders. We spend a lot, indeed. And I think we will witness in the next few days and few weeks the opening of such market, such a new market, meaning the tourism market in France. And I think we will witness more visits by Kuwaitis to France after this current visit. And as I mentioned earlier, the outcome or the positive results of such visit are not yet out. In other words, we have to wait a couple of weeks after the visit of His Highness to France to understand the great achievements of such a visit, the great economic and political and strategic achievements that His Highness the Emir was able to achieve in this current visit. And I think we will witness a remarkable shift in our relationship with France in all aspects of our economy, health sector, education, tourism, and science, research, and so on.
Dr. Khalid, what role we're beginning to run out of time, what role does France play in Kuwait's Vision 2035, particularly in sectors like renewable energy, infrastructure, and smart cities?
Indeed, I think the French expertise in AI, for example, in smart cities, and in technology in general will benefit us in Kuwait in basically achieving the objectives of the 2030, if you like, vision. Indeed, and I think the French do understand the remarkable objective of such a unique vision, and I think they will extend a helping hand to us. Of course, this all comes as an outcome of the wisdom of His Highness the Emir, of his visit to France, of attending, this particular, if you like, national event in France, the Bastille Day. In other words, all the indicators of this visit are very positive, and I think we'll witness more improvement and more development and more cooperation in different aspects of our economy. And I wish that we will witness stronger ties with France, because France is it is not just the French language or French literature. France is a leading military power, a leading global military power, a leading global economic
cultural
power.
institution as well.
Cultural institution.
The
It's
Louvre.
really, the French. The French, France can offer so much to the region, and I think the French do understand that.
Yes.
Do understand how important they can play a leading role in helping our regional economies improve and to be based on new kinds of economies that are based fundamentally on technology.
Dr. Khalid Jamfawi, it was a pleasure having you with us on the program today, sharing your knowledge and insight into French-Kuwaiti relations. Before we conclude this program, we have one final question to you. Looking ahead, how can Kuwait and France collaborate more effectively on global issues such as climate change, humanitarian aid, and multilateral diplomacy?
Indeed, I think, for example, France was one of the countries that, for example, condemned the Israeli siege to Gaza, and it offered the humanitarian aid to our brothers and sisters in Gaza. And I think France also is a leading power in environmental protection, on shifting economies to renewable energies. It is a leading power in technological innovation. It is a leading power and basically investing in one of the most prominent economic fields currently, which is AI. And I think France, or the French expertise in such a new kind of science can benefit us in Kuwait, because I think the challenges in the next few decades to our region are not just going to be just security challenges, but they're going to be technological challenges. Our economies will gradually will rely heavily more on technology, on AI, and thus we in Kuwait, I think, do understand how important it is to adapt to such kind of new realities in the region, new realities in global economy. And I think France can be very useful to us, very helpful to us, and I do expect the cooperation will be strengthened further by the current visit of our wise Amir. God bless him.
So we should see, start seeing benefits in the coming weeks and months.
Indeed, indeed. Yes.
Dr. Khalid, thank you very much. We have come to the end of our live program. A big thank you goes out to our special guest this evening, political analyst Dr. Khalid Al-Jamfawi. We hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for answering our call. Ladies and gentlemen, we conclude today's live program, having navigated together the impactful visit of a leader committed to unity, progress, and stability, both in the Arab world and on the international stage. This was not merely a protocol visit, but the beginning of a new chapter in the history of Kuwait-France relations. From Bastille Day, the state of Kuwait reaffirms its political presence and redraws the map of its cooperation with one of Europe's most prominent nations. Where is this partnership heading? The question remains open, and the coming days will surely begin to shape the answer. Our insightful guest, political analyst Dr. Khalid Jamfawi, has shed light on the significance of the visit of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, to the French Republic, and on his pivotal role in strengthening regional relations and elevating Kuwait's global stature. We bid farewell to our guest, whose expertise has added great depth to our understanding of this historic occasion and its enduring impact. We hope this program stands as a testament to the remarkable efforts of international leaderships, to the unity that inspires progress, and to the shared values that continue to bind nations together, especially between the State of Kuwait and the Republic of France. Thank you very much for joining us in covering the visit of His Highness the Emir to the French Republic on the occasion of the Bastille Day military parade. Take care and goodbye.